Well, we took care of SML 2017. Gotta say, it was weirdly nostalgic and equally sad, but honestly, I'm glad I finally did it. Feel free to check out that video to reminisce all the good and bad parts of that year. I briefly said in that video how in 2017 was the year I began to notice Brooklyn Guy was slowly working its way towards being an overused mainstay, and how while back it was decently fine as other characters were considered bad like Jeffy and Junior. Nowadays, that statement holds a new meaning. While we used to say all the time back then with Brooklyn Guy carrying videos almost effortlessly and how he was the best character for the longest time, we don't say that anymore. In fact, the show equally declines lower with Brooklyn Guy often than we realized. Honestly, if I went back in time and told them, hey, in 5 years, Brooklyn Guy is gonna fucking suck, I will be blacklisted. As much as it pains me to ask the question, we have to ask the question of, does Brooklyn Guy ruin videos sometimes? I think I could answer with a simple yes and no, because I still like Brooklyn, I don't want to hate him, and the show would never be the same without Brooklyn. I mean, remember when Chris was gone for almost an entire year? But simultaneously, he is so oversaturated nowadays, he barely acts as he once did. And his filler escapades, his Nintendo animations, his constant Jimmy Butler rants, and him being the fourth wall breaking clown and saying they'll never get rid of me, I'm the best SML character ever. He really does ruin videos. And that's why I'm here, to try to solve the mystery of when he works, when he doesn't work, and how I think this began to happen. As always, let me know if you agree or disagree. And with that, let's get into it. At the moment, we can't go into details on how Brooklyn Guy worked without discussing what his original character used to be. It'll make more sense later when you see how insanely different these characters are now. So Brooklyn's first appearance was in Summer School Part 6. And seriously, watch the power outage and then watch this video. It's day and night. It's salt and pepper how different he is. To be fair, it is a bit unfair to compare his first video because he was just a prototype and they weren't sure what his character would be yet. But he was a firefighter who did not care about anything. He was sarcastic, he hated how everyone was stupid, he was the perfect character in the video. His take everything seriously energy counteracts the other characters not taking anything seriously. He slowly inched towards being a bit of a mainstay in future videos. I mean, the first time he was ever a cop was in Mario the Gangster. So Brooklyn Guy became the guy of a million jobs. The main characters would call him all the time on whatever stupid things they need fixed. Anyway, I love his character. It's so satisfying getting a normal and relatable character who tells us how dumb everybody else is. He's basically thinking what we're thinking. I still love his quote from Summer School Part 6 and someone asked him if the fire truck's purple and then he says sarcastically, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's just me, myself, and my big fucking purple fire truck. And he's a weird mix of being completely serious, heavily sarcastic, and it's funny when even he does something out of character. I like how in Junior's candy bar, he was joking when he told Junior, oh yeah, stealing a candy bar makes you an FBI most wanted. And then he calls him a jackass when he hangs up. I found it funny when he thinks cooking a pizza and boiling water might get the job done. Or in Shrek's bath problem, he thinks unlocking a door with a spatula might help. The reason why these moments work is because you expect him to be smarter than everybody else in the group, so it's both funny and surprising when the normally smart character is doing something stupid. Lastly, and this is important later on, he rarely had a slight man-child side of himself. There were moments where he rarely had like a childlike innocence. He was always a bit of a grumpy character and always working. Personally, I do have a soft spot seeing grumpy characters having fun and being happy. It was always nice seeing the always hardworking and depressed Brooklyn Guy be happy back then. Overall, that was his character, a very sarcastic guy who hates dealing with idiots. So let's go more in depth into how, in my opinion, Brooklyn Guy became as popular as ever. His introduction was such a treat, as even back then he made videos pretty great. I remember in Mario the Gangster, his reaction of Mario and the way he was dressed and being racist. Brooklyn says so casually how if they were in New York he would have beat his ass. Or in Shrek's diet, he is so confused over what the hell Shrek was supposed to be. I love his line, is he supposed to be green like that? What is this magic that makes Brooklyn Guy good? Well, a few reasons. See, with all the other characters over the years, we know who they are, we know how they act. Depending on how you feel, they can be a bit stale, which is why I love videos every now and then when they aren't afraid to try something new and different to get me to care about them. Most importantly though, all the other characters are stupid. Then here comes Brooklyn, a normal everyday guy who was just questioning everything, and he just acts so different from everybody else. My issue with all the characters now is no one is sensible, no one is down to earth, everyone is just random for the sake of random. Back then, there were a few sensible people like Chef Pee-Pee and Mario, everybody else was just kinda stupid. Back then, the rest of the cast were illogical, stupid, crazy, weird, whatever. Then here's the yang to the yin. He acts different, he looks different, he's just overall a different character. Another reason is him being a side character. He isn't used as often as Mario, Jeffy, Jr. and the others. It adds to wanting to get more of him. We'll get to it in a minute, but ironically that's what ended up happening. Pretty soon Brooklyn Guy started to appear a lot more and bringing more of his unique comedy. I swear one of my all-time favorite Brooklyn moments was Mario called him over just because Jeffy got hiccups and then out of nowhere Brooklyn just punches him. Or the video where Junior was playing hide and seek with Chef Pee-Pee, he can't find him, he calls Brooklyn, and then Brooklyn Guy just chokes Junior out. Anyway, limiting his presence might be a bit hard considering you would want to see more of your favorite character, but I would rather limit him than to see him all the time, which is ironically his modern day character's issue. And that's what made him special, so it was always a nice occasion when he did show up. I think SML realized this too because he will begin to insert Brooklyn almost every single video, whether or not he was in the thumbnail. In all fairness, I really do love Chris' characters. I was a bit too harsh on Cody at the beginning of the year, but it was only because Timmy was running his gay stereotype down. Have you noticed how Cody practically instantly improved once Timmy disappeared? Yeah, hi, Future Ray talking. We'll get back to the video eventually. I just wanted to say that this script was made before Cody's stolen penny, so I can't wait to tear that video down to shreds. Anyway, that's all. Back to the video. Jokes aside, Cody and Brooklyn both carry videos in their own way of always questioning how dumb everybody is. Could you imagine if they ever officially killed off Brooklyn Guy in the Secret Door video? So that's why they made that plot twist. It makes so much sense now. Anyway, my point is, SML without Brooklyn Guy is like pizza without cheese. What's the point? What am I even talking about? Let's move on to my personal take on how Brooklyn Guy became popular and overused. If you want my honest theory and analysis on how Brooklyn Guy became overused and well-liked, I will say the cause of all of this is 2017. Yep, and I just made a video all about the retrospective of SML 2017 and how that year kind of brought SML to the reputation it has today. If you want my thoughts on that year, then watch the video. In that video, I made a brief comment about how Brooklyn Guy became to appear in a lot of videos that year. Well, he was already well liked, but bear with me on this. We already know in that year, the character slowly became unlikable. The blue dress star loving bitch of the week, Jeffy was a swearing machine who practically killed the channel, Junior had some bad videos too, and this led to characters like Brooklyn Guy showing up every now and then. Since Brooklyn was just a mere side character, his appearances was always a breath of fresh air when in the face of other characters who were overused and kinda ruined videos. Let me give an example, like Jeffy's brain. Rose and Jeffy immediately made the video awful and we weren't even 30 seconds in. But once Brooklyn came for the rest of the video, it was a funny video, and obviously he carried the video with funny jokes and lines. However, the millisecond he left, the video kinda got bad again with Rose and Jeffy. It's just one example, I know, but a lot of videos have a similar issue. Game Night Part 7 was really bad with Junior, which almost all the Game Night videos' main problem is him. Game Night Part 7 was really bad with Junior, and it was a lazy video, which almost all the Game Night videos are. but Junior was such an unsympathetic jerk. Brooklyn's appearance did make the video a bit interesting and funny, even if he wasn't all that funny, and him being drunk towards the end and ranting about his wife was annoying. Okay, so that video wasn't that great, but it just shows how he brings a whole new different vibe once he shows up. I would argue that he redeemed videos more than hurt them. Even in some of the worst videos, his appearances were the only funny and memorable part. People found him funny, and so did I. I think due to him being a different character who again was the straight man of the cast who questioned everything around him, whose screen time was never abused, and we never really fully knew him. You must remember, back then there was no Jonathan, no Brooklyn Guy's mom, it was just him and Karen. He appeared in hundreds of videos and we still knew little about him. Eventually, people demanded a video center about Brooklyn. Sure, Brooklyn Guy was used in videos and came more often, but until 2019, there was never a video just about him. Similar to the bet, where we never had a video that was all about Goodman up to that point. Then, in late 2019, SML dropped on us The Life of Brooklyn Guy. It was hardly a masterpiece with Karen being insufferable and not much was shown about Brooklyn Guy's life, but it was an alright video. Nevertheless, Brooklyn was still enjoyable and still brought comedy and life to videos when at worst terrible and at best already good. As the years went on, you will begin to notice Brooklyn steadily showing more often and expanding on him. Not a sign of terrible things to come, but his character shift was a bit noticeable. From being a strong man to the mix of a partially serious and partially goofy character. To me, I think 2018 and 19 was the best of Brooklyn Guy. Not that the other years were bad, but I think this was the definitive Brooklyn. He was the perfect character. He can be done right being both serious and a comical character if they keep him as a side character, not show up often, and keep him entertaining and not affect videos. Again, it's funny seeing him being the normal guy in the SML world, just judging everybody's stupidity. And it's funnier when the seemingly smart guy occasionally does something out of character and just be hilariously idiotic. You can say that Brooklyn Guy was the bread and butter of the show. So granted, it would be tragic if Brooklyn Guy was to ever leave for an entire year and the show was stuck with some of the worst annoying and stupid characters that made the videos less fun to watch, right? 2020 needs no introduction. I made a whole video about that too. And yeah, Cody and Brooklyn Guy's disappearance for almost an entire year was torture to the channel. Being stuck with Junior and Joseph, Mario and Jeffy, or even worse, Mario and Rose. Oh god! Anywho, he was missed by everybody, and then he was here to stay, to the point that nowadays Brooklyn Guy is just too much. So let's talk about that. Yeah, it goes without saying that I'm kinda sick of modern Brooklyn. Okay, not kind of, I more or less am. He's not as bad as Rose or Joseph, but the thing is that he appears way more often. And there are so many reasons why he is almost considered the worst character. Him hogging videos, his constant Nintendo animations, his Jimmy Butler rants, him being the cause of filler. And most of all, I hate how they make Brooklyn Guy always break the fourth wall and say things Logan obviously thinks. And when they make him say things that Logan is thinking. How he feels about Jimmy, addressing issues about the show but not caring enough to fix them. Logan making Brooklyn Guy say he's the best SML character ever. They would never get rid of me. I mean, without me, the channel would crumble. At least he's self-aware in the worst way possible. It's like, where do I even begin? Like, Jesus Christ. Well, let's start with the most minor critique I have. The Nintendo animations. Look, it was interesting at one point in time in Jeffy's sleepover. Don't get me wrong, that video was misleading as hell. But for some reason, the last 3 years, this became an ongoing and never-ending occurrence of Brooklyn Guy telling stories that have nothing to do with the video itself. It's gotten to the point that it's pretty much predictable. Every time there's a new video, there's a 50-50 shot he may or may not tell a story. Even when you don't expect it or you do expect it, just bam, a story. The worst part is that they're actively aware. Logan is aware these got way overused, so instead they give us a heads up on when he's gonna tell a story. Yeah, that'll fix everything. I think it would be better if Brooklyn Guy told the stories and they did a flashback scene or a reenactment with the puppets. These animations are not only not that great, but they hurt the immersion. Next, the appearances. Brooklyn Guy worked perfectly as a side character, but now he's undoubtedly the main character. There's no argument. Even when he's not in the thumbnail, he will still show up. I am getting so sick and tired of Brooklyn Guy overshadowing other characters. To list examples, you know Jeffy's 18th birthday, the video that was about Jeffy? Well, Brooklyn Guy literally takes over the movie. Pretty much almost all the video is Brooklyn. Jeffy played no part whatsoever. I mean, come on, how we finally had a Shrek video after 5 years. Even in Shrek's own video, Brooklyn Guy was the main character. Shrek was the side character. Barely a character. No matter who it is, Junior, Jeffy, Shrek, or Marvin, Brooklyn Guy is always there. It's practically no different when it's a Brooklyn Guy center video because we see him too much now. And on note of appearances, the filler. Dear Lord, is he the reason videos are so damn long now? I cannot wait until we talk about the power outage. I want to tear this video to shreds. But yes, this video is worse than the raid game, and that's new for me. Videos always feel so long because Brooklyn Guy shows up, rants about almost nothing with the video, going on tangents, and it's such a waste of time. I get it, he's the comic relief, but that doesn't give you the reason to make him do anything and justify it with he's funny. Brooklyn needs to be in videos for a reason other than just he's the most popular character. And this leads to my last note, and I hate this so much. I'm already not a fan of the SML meta humor, them breaking character and forgetting their lines and not retaking them, to Brooklyn Guy addressing critics and mocking them saying, yeah, Jeffy's 19th birthday was a lazy copy of 18th birthday, but you know what, Star Wars did the same thing. Or saying, we know the Nintendo animations are bothersome and overused, but what if we just keep showing them? Basically saying things Logan is thinking. This wasn't the only time they made him do this. In Shrek's coma, which I referenced 1,000 times already, him mocking the classic fans and how the show is the way it is, and basically kissing up to the Jeffy fanboys. Or in Ghost Jeffy and saying the non-Jeffy fans can celebrate because Jeffy's dead. There's Jeffy plays GTA 6 and him saying that the show is only canon when it feels like being canon, saying that nothing will ever change. There's Brooklyn Guy's missing wife, him acknowledging that he's one of the best SML characters ever, and acknowledging that nobody likes Rose, and I think I said enough. He's nothing but a mouthpiece of Logan's thoughts mostly, and it's not funny in the way he thinks. Logan thinks bringing up the things we hate is supposed to be relatable and funny, but in terms, it's a bit on the jerkish and annoying side, especially if he refuses to fix the things we complain about. And now, Brooklyn Guy is stuck in a never-ending cycle of kinda redeeming videos, but more or less also destroying them. I much prefer 2018 and 19 when he wasn't overused and his character was still underused, but used sparingly. The sad thing is he's still funny, the pieces are there, but he just needs to be limited and keep him competent and goofy instead of just a mouthpiece for Logan's beliefs. Keep him on track of a funny side character, and for Pete's sake, stop making him break the fourth wall to mock criticism. Anyway, that's about it for me. I think I said enough about Pensacola's most busiest puppet. Next time will be either the Secret Door video or the April ranking video. Whichever script gets finished and recorded, that's what we're doing. And I just want to say that we're almost at 10,000. That is freaking amazing. And I think the support from friends, viewers, people with pitchforks and torches for some reason. Hope you all enjoyed the video. And as always, I will see you next time.